is Maria Cruz Melendez, a defense attorney and former federal prosecutor who knows the case, who's been reading the documents. All right, Maria, why are we having this pushed again? I mean, it does need time, right?
Yeah, I think this is an important issue for the judge to determine. At the end of the day, I think it's really difficult for judges to put someone to detain a defendant pre-trial. At the end of the day, though, particularly with a case of this severity, the judge is weighing whether or not he obviously thinks that the defendant is going to flee, in this case Combs, or whether or not Combs is a danger to the community,
right,
as a whole. And so both sides have put very passionate arguments forward. And obviously, whenever there's a situation where you have new information or new legal arguments, the judge has to consider those things. And
right.
I think that's what the judge is doing here.
What did you make of the paperwork? You read through it.
I did. A lot of the arguments made by the government is consistent with the arguments they've been making since the beginning. In fact, they're leaning very heavily on the fact that in this type of a case, the presumption, it's a rebuttable presumption, but the presumption is that the court should detain Combs. And so what defense counsel has to do is rebut that presumption and present evidence that the government has it wrong at the end of the day. What the government is attempting to do now is to not only demonstrate that he's a risk of flight and that he's a danger to the community, but that continuously, since before even the investigation, Combs has been obstructing justice.
Right. And there's been this whole thing. I was there in court on Friday, and they've been saying, the prosecutors say, look, he's been doing these three-way calls. He's communicating with people, witnesses, people that he's trying to influence. He's calling somebody, they're calling somebody. It's against the rules. He's borrowing other people's phone cards. All of that. That is a big no-no, right?
Well, yes and no, in that if the goal is to obstruct justice, then yes, that's a big no-no. However, from the defense's point of view, Combs is just doing what any defendant should be able to do.
Right.
In the paperwork that was filed today, the argument is that it would be a violation of his First Amendment rights not to be able to defend himself and defend his reputation, and also to be able to assist in his defense.
And what are the chances that we're going to hear something before Thanksgiving? I mean, whether or not he's going to walk or not.
It's hard to tell. I think it's possible that the judge is 2 more days will be able to put in a ruling on that. But also, I don't think that the judge is necessarily focused on whether or not the decision comes down before Thanksgiving. I think the judge is more focused on getting it right.
One of the things we heard on Friday and that we're hearing in the paperwork is that Diddy's team has said that he doesn't have the kind of time or access to prepare for his trial. There's a lot of charges, there's a lot of accusers, but other people do it just fine. Is there any truth to the defense saying that he doesn't have the access and what he needs to do to get ready?
Look, I think it's fair to say that obviously you'd have more access if you were out on bond. However, there are so many different ways that the court can make the defense counsel available to the defendant. There are situations in which a judge will allow meetings happening at various locations, whether it be the courthouse or the jail, to make sure that defense counsel and Combs have enough time to prepare for trial.
Right.
As you mentioned, defendants do it all the time, every single day. Any incarcerated defendant has to work with their counsel in order to prepare for trial. So I don't think that that's necessarily something that's going to sway.
And the whole thing with the raid that happened in a cell with the legal notes, the handwritten notes that were taken, there's been a lot of back and forth about that. Really quick, your take on that?
Well, I think the judge is going to have to really hear the facts on that. But what's interesting is they were able to use that fact and the fact that Combs had made representations that he had written legal and made it clear that this was legal communications. And then it turned out that his lawyer had to explain, looking back at the evidence, it's not actually true that the word legal was written all over the paperwork beforehand. And so what the government did was use that as another way of showing that Combs is still not following the law and is not listening to his attorneys.
All right. So if he doesn't make it this time, will a 5th bail attempt happen? You can keep trying and trying.
You can keep trying and trying, and he's probably going to go to the Second Circuit and do an appeal and see what the Court of Appeals has to say about it. Even if he doesn't win there, I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to try.
Do you have a prediction?
I think given the seriousness of the offenses and the evidence that the government has proffered, it's unlikely that he's going to be released.
Whoa. We back, family. Thanks for tuning in. I want to ask that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, share if you get the opportunity. Yo, somebody should have schooled Diddy before he went to jail and told him the do's and don'ts while you in jail. Don't believe that happened. But what I do think happened is once he got in jail, somebody in jail schooled him to the do's and the don'ts. And, you know, it still was no thing. Now, so you get in jail, somebody had to tell you that everything you're doing is going to be watched. Every call you make is going to be monitored. If you get on somebody's call and you try to get that person to make a three-way call for you, as soon as they hear that line or click over, they're going to disconnect the whole call. Okay? That's because they listening. They up on everything. All right? So also, anytime you're in a situation like this, and I've never seen a situation so severe with one person, but anytime you're a celebrity like this and there's all this heat on you, naturally they're going to do, even if you was a regular person, the DA is going to do everything they can to try to keep you in jail. Okay? Because like they said, they don't want you being a threat to anyone else out there. I don't see where he could actually run to. I don't see where he would actually have enough time to like get enough plastic surgery to hide in plain sight or to like make a move and say he's gonna flee and go anywhere. He will never be able to flee. Cameras are everywhere. They're gonna catch him. All right, straight up. Also, if they caught Chapo, they gonna catch him. If they caught what's that boy name, Escobar, they gonna catch him. So him running is completely out of the question. I believe the reason for them wanting to keep him in jail mostly is because of the fact that they've caught him trying to persuade witnesses, buy off people, and calling people he shouldn't be calling, stuff like that. That's why they really want to keep him in jail, because it is the secret about Puffy's power is out. Okay, everybody knows he's a powerful individual. Everybody knows that he has influence in a lot of places. Everybody knows he has the money to do pretty much anything he needs to do. So yeah, I understand that. The lady at the end said she don't feel like he you know, she said that he can make all the attempts he wants to get out, but she don't believe that he's gonna ever get out. And when you talking about when you talking about people who are, you know, I wouldn't know if she's on the inside or not, but she's close enough and she knows enough about how things work to know whether or not he's gonna get out. And I believe what she's saying. Yes, I did have a dream that I saw Puffy after he got out doing an interview in a car. But hey, I'm crazy too, so don't pay me no attention. And I only say that because it was the truth. I dreamed that, for real. It was crazy as shit. But if you stayed to this point, I want to say I appreciate you, family, and I'll catch you on the next one. Salute.